What it do, Kaizoku crew? It's your boy, Kaizoku Ice. Today we're talking about the newest set coming to the One Piece trading card game, EB-03 Heroines Edition. This set is insanity. Just looking at the four girls right here, I mean, this is gonna be $1 million set for sure. Looking at some of the cards, I mean, this regular alternate art VV leader, $1 million card, amazing. Look at her Alabasta VV, fantastic. But you know what is not fantastic? The current prices. Looking at a pre-sale for this box, look at $530. That's kind of a lot of money. $6K for a case of EB-03. What are we doing? But I will say that this insanity, it kind of makes sense just a little bit. And, I heard this clip from one of the biggest mega fans of One Piece. I wanted to share with you guys because I feel like it pretty much sums up where we are in today's market. So let's listen to the #1 fan of One Piece real quick, Mr. Paul D. Logan. Let's play the clip.
Frankenstein, like an OnlyFans chick, probably. OnlyFans chick would think, yeah.
Oh, that's why they like it.
Oh, because they're hornballs.
They're gooners, bro.
They're gooners, bro. Hey, yo, One Piece fans, we figured you guys out. You're gooners, bro. Look, of course you guys like this.
Oh. Okay, guys. So as you guys can see, Mr. Paul D. Logan thinks that we are only buying these One Piece cards because we love the anime girls, which, I mean, that is a crazy statement to say. That's borderline disrespectful because if you really love One Piece, you guys know we love One Piece for the world building, the character development, the relationships. We're not in it just for the, the women of it. That is like a crazy statement. And honestly, if you're only in it for like the women and the gooners, then you probably have a problem. You should probably go touch grass. And I mean, that's just ridiculous. So let's go ahead and like... NANI? Okay, I don't know how that ended up there, but I do love 2D women. I think that this set's going to be fantastic, and we're going to talk all about it today. You guys know how to bring out the Excel sheet because this set is extremely expensive, and $530 before this set has even actually released yet. That is something that we've never, ever seen before in the trading card game. Even with OP13, you were looking at pre-sale prices for about like $180 to $200. OP14 we're looking at, currently today $280 per box. So the fact that EB-03 is about 2x the price of OP14 currently, I mean, it just goes to show, guys, I think people are starting to realize that some of these boxes are going to do extremely well. And today we're going to talk about whether or not the prices today are worth it for EB-03. So before we get into any numbers and look at some of these amazing 2D women, I just have to say real quick, thank you so much to the Kaizoku crew. I gotta make myself a little bit bigger for this one because y'all are absolutely the best. Last week's video was actually like, I think top 100 in hype factor. Like, we were on the top 100 leaderboard. That's insane. I'm literally just a small time YouTuber with a hat, bro. Like, I just be yapping, but y'all really like support me. So that's really cool. As a friendly reminder, we have some giveaways going on. We just gave away this Hancock PSA 10. Speaking of like 2D anime women, low-key one of the best cards. We just gave this one away, and we're still giving away this one. So if you haven't watched last week's video this past Monday, I'm giving away this card here. So go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. In fact, I'll give you guys like 5 seconds to subscribe right now. And now that everyone's subscribed, we should be at 10,000 subscribers, which, by the way, if we do reach 10,000 by the end of this month, which is like 5 days, I will be giving away this card. So let's get right into it. Guys, EB-03, good lord. I think that the demand for this set is super high because when you compare it to some of the other extra booster sets, compare that to EB-02, for example, going for about $570 a box. And then EB-01, I mean, this is like a special case in itself, but it's going for about like almost $900 for EB-01. So I do believe that the prices in English are pretty much kind of reflecting what we are seeing with EB-02 and EB-01. EB-03 is about the same price as EB-02 and obviously hasn't released yet, but I think people are starting to realize that these special sets definitely command a lot of money. I mean, EB-02 at one point, if you're looking at the history of EB-02, like when it released, it was around like, like pre-release $200, and then it went as low as like $170. But I want to say I would see some here at some local shops for even less than $170. So, it was super cheap and it was like almost retail price, but then now you see it like people are starting to realize that these extra booster sets, we're not getting more than one wave. They're very hard to find, very limited printing. So that is what is carrying the prices of these boxes. And I think people are expecting the same thing here with EB-03, which I think is a pretty fair assumption. We haven't seen many reprints for PRB1, PRB2, EB-01, and EB-02. So, unless things drastically change here, this will be one of the only waves, if not the only waves, of EB-03 being printed here. So I think that's what's carrying the price right here. And on top of the fact that it is literally the waifu set, the I Love 2D Women set. And when you look at the card list here, guys, I mean, the top 10 cards are basically the manga and the SPs, and they look phenomenal. I mean, we have the Uta manga, which I still wish it was Robin, but beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. But we're looking at, we've got Hancock, we've got Nami, we've got Robin, we've got Uta, we've got Vivi, Perona, Koala, Reiju, and then Tashigi. These are all very amazing cards here, and I think that these cards, guys, might end up being a lot more than we actually expect here in English. So let's just look at some numbers. I have the Japanese prices here. As you guys know, I like to compare Japanese prices versus English, or look at the Japanese prices and then project them in English. Typically with Japanese, I'm looking at like a 2x between Japanese prices and English, but I do think that with this special set with EB-03, I think I'm looking closer at like a 3x in price, and I'll explain why later. But real quick, looking at EB-03 Japanese prices, we're looking at $70 per box, $11.40 for a case, and then the top 10 cards are about $3,000. Then the most expensive card is the Uta manga, going for $700. I got all of these prices from mixture between TCG Republic, and then I went on eBay and I just basically looked at the prices here, look at the most recent sold, and yeah, so when we're looking at the top 10 cards of EB-03, it's about $3,000, and then I pretty much did a 3x multiplier for the top 10 cards for EB-03 simply because when I looked at, for example, the Luffy manga rare, the Gear 2 Luffy from EB-02. I saw that had a most recent sale of about $6,500 raw. And then when I looked at the Japanese Gear 2 manga from EB-02, it's about $2,150. So if you do the math, that's about a 3x between Japanese and English. So I went ahead and conservatively used a 3x multiplier between Japanese EB-03 and then what I project for EB-03 here in English. So in my opinion, looking at the Uta manga being about $2,100, which would put it as the most expensive card in EB-03. However, I want to say this, and I think that this might potentially make some of the SPs a little bit more in price, because when you really think about it and we crunch the numbers, right? On average, it takes about 1 in every 6 booster boxes to get 1 SP in any of the other sets, 1 through 14, and I'm not sure exactly what like the hit rates were for PRB1, PRB2, and then EB-01 and EB-02, because I think that they might have been a little bit different for the special sets. But let's just go with the assumption that to get an SP in EB-03, it will cost you it'll take 1 in every 6 booster boxes, which at a going rate currently of $500 per booster box, it took you about $3,000 to get 1 SP. Well, let's say, for example, you spend $3,000 and you hit the 1 SP and it's Tashigi. Well, you're pretty much screwed, and you will not, I mean, in general, it's not the best thing to open up these booster boxes, but let's say you're opening them up, you're gonna get, let's call this like a $250 card in English. Well, you just spent $3,000. That's horrible, right? So in order to get a specific SP in particular, let's focus on like Hancock, Nami, and Robin. It's going to be pretty difficult to get exactly that SP. So there's 9 SPs here. I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's 9 SPs here. So to get, one of the top 3, you're looking at spending about what? Almost $10,000 to get one of these 3 here. So what that means to me is that these SPs might end up costing so much money. You're looking at here, for example, the Hancock SP in Japanese is going for about $500. I would argue that this Hancock SP will end up being $1,500 to $2,000 in English, especially when you compare that to the OP14 Hancock and the OP09 Hancock, which I believe are going for about $1,000 raw. Well, then I don't think it's a crazy thing to say that the Hancock SP coming from EB-03, which is one of the most special, which is a special set in the One Piece trading card game. I don't think it's crazy to say that it would be about 2x the price of the Hancocks from OP14 and OP09. Like, I could easily see this being a $2,000 card in the near future. And same thing with like the Nami. The Nami is going for about like $440, and then the Robins are about like $400. I think that these SPs of Nami and Robin are also going to be like potentially over $1,000, maybe even closer, like $1,500 to $2,000, because it's going to be so hard to get a specific SP from EB-03. Like, you pretty much take that L if you hit Tashigi. I mean, Rage is pretty cool. Koala, I don't think I care too much for. Perona's pretty okay, I suppose, but in general, like, you want to hit one of the big three here with Hancock, Nami, and Robin. Maybe Uta, but I feel like the Uta won't do as well just because we have the Uta manga rare. So, considering all that, I actually think that this 3x multiplier might be more like a 4 to 5x multiplier, because it's going to be very difficult to get some of those particular characters, like the Hancock, the Nami, and the Robin. And then also, if you add on top of the fact, like, I know it's not the exact same hit ratio, but if you're looking at EB-02 and you look at some of these single cards there, in particular the Hancock, this card right here is going for, it hasn't sold recently, but I think the most recent sale, was like, 14 days ago, so 2 weeks ago, for $2,200 for this Hancock leader. And I know that this is more scarce and is gonna be, this is one in every case. To hit a gold leader gold leader SP from EB-02, and then for EB-03 it's about 1 in every 6 boxes. So the hit ratio isn't exactly the same, but in my opinion, this card, I've seen this card in person, I don't think it's anything too special. But when you look at something like this, I think that this one right here, I mean, the art is easily superior than any of the other Hancock SPs. I think this is easily, better than OP14, OP09 Hancock, and then EB-02 Hancock. And if this card is going for $2,200, I don't care if it's more rare, harder to hit. I think that this one could easily reach the prices of this Hancock here. So, with all that being said, guys, like, I think that we could start seeing even crazier prices for EB-03. Seeing this at $530 is insane, and EB-02, in my opinion, is fantastic. And when you look at the top 10 prices of EB-02, I mean, we're looking at almost $20,000, which is insanity. And EB-02, in my opinion, will always have a higher top 10 card price than EB-03. However, I do think that EB-03 could overtake EB-02 just because, it is the waifu set. I mean, when you just look at this set, I mean, the cover art is fantastic. I haven't even talked about the gold dawns yet, right? Like, the gold dawn for the set, like, oh my goodness gracious, like, that is fantastic. This is 4-in-1 waifu on one card, $1 million card. And we have like the singular ones. I mean, we've got like the we've got the Hancock here, we've got the Nami. Like, these are fantastic dawn cards. So I mean, top to bottom, I would argue that this set, the cards are better than EB-02, because when you look at EB-02, I mean, the top 10 cards value is being carried simply by the fact that we have these gold leaders. Like, the Luffy is going for crazy amounts, obviously the Hancock, even like the Bonnie and the Perona are going for $1,000, the Sabo, but when you remove those cards here, I mean, what else do we have? We have I guess we have this Nami that looks really cool. This is during the Arlong Pirates arc. That's fantastic. This Vivi looks pretty cool. Sanji and Pudding, of course, we have this Law that looks fantastic, but when you look at the prices, none of them are over $100, right? But when you look here at EB-03, I mean, yeah, we have some of the SPs that are obviously those are cheaper than the gold leaders from EB-02, but then when you look at some of the alternate arts, I'd argue that looking at this Nami, this Robin, this Hancock, even this Uta, and even this Nami super rare, nothing crazy, but I would think that these cards would definitely be a lot more than some of the regular alternate arts in EB-02. And I think just from top to bottom, like, I think that these cards are just better. And then add it on top of the fact that this is like the waifu, or as Paul D. Logan would call them, the Gooner set, then I think that this has everything going for it. I really do. And my thought in general right now is like, $500 is just way too high to pay for anything pre-release. I mean, that's insane. I would rather just buy, like, I don't know, what is $500 currently right now in today's market? Maybe like, I don't know, like a BVB Luffy Raw for like $500. I think I'd rather have that than like pre-ordering EB-03. However, one thing that I will say is that when I like to think about things long-term, obviously, and one thing that I think, this is all pure speculation, but this has just been in the back of my mind. EB-04 has been mixed into OP-14 and OP-15 here in English, and we don't know what the potential other EB sets are going to look like moving forward. Like, are they going to be standalone? Are they going to be mixed in with like OP-18, 19, and 20? Like, we don't know. But let's just say, for example, EB-03 is the last extra booster set that they have as a standalone set, and then all of the other extra boosters are going to be, mixed in with the other sets, like OP-17, 18, 19, for example. Well, once again, this is pure speculation. I know nothing, I'm just a dude with a hat, but if this is potentially the last EBZ extra booster set as a standalone set, well then, with it being the last one, then I could totally see this box go crazy, because it is the last special set that we have of the extra booster, I guess, what's the word, like, extra booster timeline, I guess. I don't know the correct word for it, but this could potentially be the last extra booster. And if it is, then this set would just go crazy, right? And add on top of the fact that it is literally the waifu set, then, I could easily see this box being, seeing it at today at 528 pre-release, I could see it being $1,000 box. When you look at, EB-01, its current price is being carried by the simple fact that it is literally one of the most scarce sets you could ever find in the One Piece trading card game. I mean, even when this released, like, I literally could not find one in the wild, whereas with EB-02, I could find that, at a couple of stores, but EB-01 was, like, ridiculously hard to find. And, because of it being ridiculously hard to find, and back then people were actually opening up their boxes, this is why it's like almost $1,000 right now. But I would say that, at the rate that we're going, I feel like if you buy this box for $500, you're not going to rip it. You're buying this purely as, honestly, as an investment. Like, $500 for one box is insane, and no one's opening this up for $500. So if no one's opening up their EB-03, then I would just expect this to continue to rise, and also some of the singles in that set just continue to rise also, because people just aren't opening up their EB-03. And at that point, I could easily see this box reaching like close to $1,000, and that's provided, if the market is going to continue to go crazy the way that it's, has been for the past month, then yeah, I expect this to go to like $1,000 in the next year, honestly. And that's not, once again, that is not financial advice, but this just has everything going for it. When I think about cards and boxes that, I think are going to do well, I also think about like the long-term time frame, but I try to put myself in the shoes of the consumer. I know what I like, but I try to think about what the vast majority of people would like. And when I think about the vast majority of people here in the One Piece trading card game, I would think that most people would rather have EB-03 than EB-02 or EB-01, for example. And I even argue that, like, I think I'd rather have EB-03 than PRB-2. And I think PRB-2 is a great set also, but, this is the waifu set, guys. And as Paul D. Logan said, like, this is what apparently the One Piece community likes, and I would actually kind of agree with him that, when you have a set like this with the waifus, it kind of just makes sense that it's going to do extremely well. So, long story short, guys, these are crazy high prices. Seeing $500 pre-release that's nasty work, I'm not going to lie. But I think it's relatively appropriate when you consider the fact that EB-02 is like $570, EB-01's $868. There is some precedence for where we can expect EB-03 to end up at, and I would expect EB-03, in the next like month or two. Maybe it goes down a little bit on an actual release. Maybe it goes down to below 500, but immediately after that, I could see EB-03 already beating out EB-02 and maybe even reaching like EB-01 prices, in the next like year or so. So should you buy right now during pre-release? I would say yes, if you believe in the thesis that EB-03 is going to be the best out of all the extra boosters, then yeah, you should definitely buy it. But for me, I still think I'd rather save my money and buy the singles when they come out, even if they're already crazy prices, like let's say the Hancock, the Nami, and the Robin are over $1,000. I think I still would rather just buy the card itself as opposed to like getting a box, because I mean, you guys know me, like I'm not too into like keeping too much sealed. In fact, like even with this, where is it? That OP05 box right there, somewhere behind me, I'm opening that up. Like I don't care if it's $1,000 booster box, I'm gonna open it up eventually, because like we talk about like collecting, investing, etc. Like I'm just here to have fun and rip boxes, honestly. So I personally, I think it's going to be a good play if you wanted to buy and like hold for a long time, but I still think I'd rather just buy the cards itself, because I think it's just cooler to have the cards. So anyways, guys, I hope this helped. I hope you guys kind of like, I hope these numbers and everything, just like my perspective on all of this, kind of helped in your decision on whether or not you should buy or hold EB-03. I'm not here to tell you guys to do anything, but I do think that EB-03 is going to be great. If you really want exposure to the set, then I think it might be an okay time to buy it at $500, especially, if comparing it to the other sets, which are going to continue to rise in price. Like EB-02, I could see, definitely reaching a crazy high price in the long term. Then I would also think that EB-03 would also follow the same trajectory, and at that point, it would be a good buy at $500. So anyways, yeah, that's all I had, guys. I don't think I have too much else to say, guys. Once again, thank you all so much for the support. I hope everyone's staying warm. Even here in Texas, it's super cold right now, so I hope everyone's being safe. No one's pipes are bursting. Everyone's staying off the roads, and hopefully this video can keep y'all warm inside and y'all can just chill. So anyways, that is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed this talk on EB-03 and how much I love 2D women. I am Kaizoku Ice. Stay cool, stay chill, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.